The world's leading brand consultancy, Interbrand, has published an annual list of the world's top 100 strongest brands every year since 2001, and Nintendo has always been on that list. But they slipped hard in 2014, losing about 33% of their brand value, and this year, for the first time, Nintendo is nowhere to be seen in that top 100. Interbrand says Nintendo has weakened largely because they failed to keep up with consumers' changing habits, specifically pointing out how slow Nintendo's been to embrace the mobile market. But I'm sure, there are a lot of other things coming into play, like their online infrastructures, the Wii U's obvious failure.
Yeah, and specifically, it was the head of Interbrand Japan who pointed to Nintendo's slow rate of adapting to the mobile market. And, obviously in Japan, the mobile market is just enormous compared to, in terms of the percentage of the market share that is mobile versus consoles. In Japan, it's astronomical compared to in the US. Mobile games generate way more money than consoles and handhelds. So by Nintendo not entering into the mobile race, to the Japan Interbrand guy, that's just insanity.
Yeah, I think it's important not to look at this as sort of a valuation that mobile is important, and since Nintendo's not there, that's why their brand is falling. If you look back at historical Interbrand rankings, Nintendo's strongest position was in the 2009-2010 era, around the time that Wii was plateauing and the software sales had kind of hit their high. Since then, they've been dropping like a rock, which shouldn't be surprising since their software popularity has been eclipsed by stuff on PlayStation, on Xbox, PC, mobile. And that's important because Nintendo used to be the undisputed king of game software, but now you have games like Minecraft, Grand Theft Auto, League of Legends, all hitting highs that Nintendo games really haven't hit. And those are largely apples-to-apples comparisons, I know, because Nintendo doesn't make games quite like those. But the difference really is that people aren't really playing Nintendo games anymore, whereas they are playing on these other platforms, and that means their brand name has weakened.
Yeah, no, that's a good, very important point. It's not just the mobile adoption. Although I do think stuff like that will be a lot more likely to draw in a lot more mass market consumers. They also moves like those, like the success of Minecraft, Grand Theft Auto, League of Legends. Those really are kinds of games that Nintendo doesn't offer. And, when people are enjoying kinds of games like those, then
they're not playing Nintendo games. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and then, you think about how is a brand name well known, and one of the big ways is when just, every household has one of their products. And you look at last generation, and in the third and fourth years of the last generation, Nintendo was moving about 50 million pieces of hardware a year between Wii and DS, whereas with Wii U and 3DS, it's about 10 million a year these last couple of years. So,
they've hit about 60-something this entire generation, just to put that in perspective.
Well, every household still has a Wii, it's just in their basement.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hello everybody, thank you for listening to this Nintendo Week clip, NWC. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to us here on YouTube for more highlights and discussion videos from Nintendo Week podcast, or subscribe to us on iTunes for weekly breakdowns of all your Nintendo news, discussion segments on subjects, games, and more, and tons of other features. Thanks for listening, and we will see you tomorrow with another NWC.